It is vlog number 20, and it is November 18th. This is on a Monday when I'm recording this, and it is 5:16 Pacific Standard Time. You know, there are some things that go with being an introvert. And I think some people call themselves introverts. And I think there are those who are actually introverts. The separation that I make is this. And I think this is an important detail, is that when it comes to going out or connecting with others in a personal way, say going to parties and or going out to events that require group participation, that kind of thing. For me, as someone who's an introvert, I dread those types of situations. Now, some people can say that, that's also because I'm antisocial, which I think is true to an extent, but for the most part, when I see or I think about social interactions, especially in movies or entertainment or whatever, I'm not really filled with excitement. I'm not filled with this idea that I'm missing out unless I participate or join along with the crowd. Because in my life, of course, there have been times that I put myself in situations that would make it less likely for me to be able to get away and to converse and get along with other people. And for the most part in my life, I've never really been successful at that. I think even in the situations and circumstances where I have felt like I fit in, or I was being kind of successful as being a kind of chameleon where I was going along to get along with any group or crowd, there was always a part of me that felt as if at any moment the gig was going to be up, that something was going to happen, that in the end I was eventually going to be disliked, or something would happen as far as dramatic that eventually I would find myself being pushed further away, either for myself or by myself or because of other people. And I think there's something to be said in terms of relationships as well. I have an avoidant trait, so that's something I've clinically been diagnosed with. And I'm sure my father had it as well. I mean, I avoid conflict, I avoid drama, I avoid things that have to do with basically things that I just don't quite feel are important in terms of arguing, or sometimes, getting into arguments and confrontations, especially about things that aren't important, like, say, sports, for example. It's not that I have anything necessarily against sports, but it's just not something that's important to me. If I watch an entire season of any sport, I think I always come away with the idea that regardless to what's happening in the moment, and like I said, I'm not necessarily against sports, but I don't think anything is ultimately overall accomplished by year after year cheering the exact same outcomes, whether it's one team or another. It's just never been something that's been important to me. And so being an introvert and not necessarily going with the crowd, but going with what I find interesting, or exploring the outlines or the intricacies of life that I'm experiencing with the people I love, people that I'm close to, people that I care an awful lot about, and love. That to me is the most important thing in terms of life and experiencing life. So I guess the great Yahoo and I don't know, the idea that somehow there's supposed to be some kind of there's supposed to be some kind of meaning in life fulfilled by others or some kind of group activity has never persuaded me. It's never been something that's honestly put me in a circumstance that I felt a need for anything in terms of social currency, I think is the best way to explain it. And that's pretty much what I'm feeling about right now as I'm recording this, is to just, I think I might elaborate on a video voiceover at some point a little bit more into detail about that. But right now, life as we live it right now seems to be, at least where I came from, there were a lot more extroverts than there are introverts. And some people could say technology and the rise of social media and people basically staying at home accounts for that. But I would say even in the 80s and 90s when I was younger and as a teen, not much changed. So that's my experience as far as being an introvert. And if you're listening to this, maybe what's your experience? Until my next vlog, take care.